Hi, in this video I will show you how to put together one of the luminaries in the Leaves Mason Jar Luminary set from Simply Crafty SVGs. So I'm going to show you how to put together these what I call mason jar luminaries, but they're really just gift boxes. Or you can put, I have like a thing that you can put a vellum, or you can put clear acrylic window and put a little tea light inside. So to put on a table or something to decorate for fall setting, whether it be for just everyday fall occasion or like a Thanksgiving or something like that. So there's different leaves. This is a little bit of the plain one. This, and then the one we're going to make. They're all the same. They go together the same, but all three designs are in this set. So the lid is snug. Comes up, and you can put a little gift or put a tea light in it. So you could, like I said, you can make that a clear window if you want to cut acetate, or I use transparency. But it's really, I have it a snug lid. So it's, without further ado, let's go ahead and start. So these are the side panels. This is the vellum, and you can see how this is the bottom piece. These are the sides and the lid. So you can see how this layers like that. So you could keep it clear too. If you're just going to put a gift in it, you could not put the vellum part and just put a gift in it if that you want to give a gift to somebody. So these would be great if you wanted to give a gift to some coworkers, or in these day and ages, who knows if you actually see your coworkers, but friends and family, anything like that. So now that I'm rambling, let's move on. So the first thing you want to do, if you decide to put like a window or a vellum in there, I had this kind of weird textured vellum in my stash from years ago, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. So I have textured American Crafts paper I'm using. So this is the outside because it's the texture part. So I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to add the vellum to the inside. So if you want something clear or nothing, you can skip this part. So for this, what I do is just go lightly around the leaf, and don't get too close to it. We're just trying to get it so it adheres around it. And then what I do is just put an edge around here. I'm going to flip it over, make sure there's no glue coming through. So if you fold that too, which is a tab on the bottom, that'll help you see where the bottom is here. Remember, we're not going to see this part because it's on the inside. Sometimes I like to hide the vellum in other ways, but this one in particular is just on the inside. And because you don't know where it ends here, that's why I just do it on the actual vellum. If you wanted to use a colored vellum, that would be fun too. Depends on the paper, the cardstock color, I guess. Got a little glue, but fortunately it was on the tab. Then we're going to go ahead and attach the sides. So the way that I designed this one, put those to the side. The way that I designed these, they're all the same size. So we're going to go ahead and fold them. And actually, let's go ahead and fold these big parts first. So I find it's easier just to put it down like this and fold it. So this one, when it comes to this top part right here, that's thick, I fold it with the mountain fold, and then I'll fold it back a little bit because it's going to go like this. for the side. So this will be the lid. Then I can go ahead and fold back all those tabs. Let's see if I'm a little bit more eloquent on the second one. So if you were doing all these, you could just fold them all at once. There's that bottom one. So let's start from the top this time. There's that big one. I'm going to fold it back and then get the other two. Make sure I'm angling it so you can see it. So to make it easier, rather than put them on the inside, because a lot of people like to glue on the inside like this and go around, which you could do, but I made the panels a certain size so they're just slightly larger than the front. So we're actually going to fold the panels on the outside, and that this front panel will cover everything, all those tabs. But it makes it easier to go together. So I'm trying to make sure that you have enough light to see this. So what we're going to do to put that on, take one of these and then one of the front panels. Got a little glue where I didn't want it. So I'm adding glue to this top tab on the inside. Messily I may add. And then I'm going to anchor it or attach that first one, so I'm going to fold that back a little bit. I'm going to line it up so this edge will line up into the fold, and then it'll sit into this section. You can see that. I have a little wet paper towel that I can use to wipe my excess glue away. So once we get that anchored, we can go ahead and add glue on all these remaining tabs. I'm using art glitter glue and a fine tip applicator. Don't do that, don't throw it. So I'm going to go backwards here. My inclinations go the other way because I'm right-handed. But from the top, we're just going to slide it under those tabs. So we're going to slide it under, start from the top where we anchored that first piece, and as we slide it under, we're going to apply pressure to get those tabs adhered. And when you get to that last tab, make sure you push it in. So you can see I'm pushing this panel in to the right to make sure it's flush with the tab fold. So this is what it'll look on the other side. So now we have that side on. So we'll go ahead and we'll add the other panel. So it doesn't really matter how we can do this side or we can put another panel here. So let's just go ahead and do this side. I vary how I do it every single time, so it really doesn't matter as much as long as you can reach in and get in there. So I'm going to add glue on this tab. So I'm carefully lining it up. You might be able to see better on the inside like this. I'll double check on the outside. I just think this is the most critical thing, is to get it on the first tab lined up, and then once you get it on the first tab, you can go ahead and add glue on the rest of them, the rest of the tabs. So I'm just flipping it around. And since I am so right-handed, I want you to be able to see it. So you can see I'm just adding glue to these remaining tabs. And again, all this is going to be hidden by the front panel. So I'm just getting them ready in place. Of course, this is not, of course, my natural angle to do things because I want to do the opposite, but I need you to be able to see it. So I'm going from the top, and as I go to the bottom, I'm applying pressure on those tabs as I'm pushing in this side right here to make sure that this edge is flush with the inside tab fold. So we're going to continue doing that with the other two. So I'll do the, I'll continue doing it, and then I'm not going to be talking through it, but at the very end I'll give you a little tip on, you know, you can apply, how you can get in there, apply more pressure if you can't get your hand in, but you should be able to get your hand in for most of this. So for when we're closing this up, so once we have all the glue on the tabs, we're going to do the same thing. The only difference is, there's really no difference. You just kind of have to reach in, get it at the right angle so you can see it. So if you need to, so I'm starting at the top, I'll flip it around, go the other way. I'm kind of making sure, the biggest thing is to make sure that the bottom tab is in too. There's not many curves except for this bottom and top section. So once you get those in place, everything should come together. But if you need to, you could use something like this. Just make sure you get it in the center place, in the straight, and the part that's straight right here. So right there. Because if you try it on this is going to pull it away. So be careful about the angled portions. So, and you could always reach in after you get it set and do this as well. So in my opinion, that's one of the hardest parts of the whole box, putting the sides on. So if I were to do a project where I was going to do a lot of these, I probably would just do, you know, a whole bunch of, do the panels first, get those ready, and just sit here and do all these. This is the kind of box I would have given away for maybe around Thanksgiving once I was in the workplace. So now let's go ahead and put the side panels. So I have side panels that are from Die Cuts with a View. It's an autumn stack. And what I'm going to do is just curl them with my hands. So you can do it on the edge of a table too, but we don't want it really curled. See, you see how this is straight right here and then just curved at the ends? I'm really only wanting to curve the ends. And if you have regular paper, this is cardstock. It's thicker, so it's harder to bend. If you have regular, just thinner pattern paper, it's going to go on without it pretty easily because it just bends really easily for you. But I wanted to hide those score lines and make it look more rounded towards the top and bottom. So that was the reason I did that without having little score lines for you. So when we put them on, I'm going to add glue to the top and the bottom. The reason we're doing it, well, before we close up the box or anything, so you can get your hands in and apply pressure from within if you need to. So I started at the top and we're just going to go a little bit down. So you'll see the space on the left and right. You want to center it but you also want to leave just a little bit space up above too, which is like about the same as the left and right. So once you get it in place, see, I'm reaching inside to get it started. Then I'm going to pull it down. As I'm coming down, I'm just making sure that it's coming down straight in the middle. And then going from the top, then I'll go to the bottom, and then I'll kind of curve it around this bottom part. So instead of having score lines, which I think this cleans it up, I'm gluing it on the middle, and it's kind of just curving around this little areas. You can see I have a little border down at the bottom too. So it's up to you. You can make it a little bit larger on top, but whatever you do on one side, just emulate it on the other side. Again, it's going to be harder. This step will be harder if you have a thick paper or cardstock. But I found this colors, and I like the colors on this one, so making sure that it's coming down straight, or at least close to it. Top's it's okay. It's crafts. Crafts are perfectly imperfect. So the biggest thing with this is just I want to make sure that top is adhered, and then start going down, rubbing, and then I'm reaching in to apply pressure on the back, and then come down here and glue this. So now we'll go ahead and add the front panel, front and back panel. They're the same exact thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to line it up here. So you want to center it up here and then center it down here. It gets a little wider around the edge up here, just to hide, just in case you can see the fold, and it's trying to hide the fold of those tabs. Make sure those aren't visible at all when you put this on. So that's, and this is more rounded. So it has a round feel, so it gives you more of the jar feel, where it would be a little bit more difficult to put together if I made it truly kind of rounded with paper. So trying to make it a little easier to make. So you don't need to go all the way to the edge, because only the top and bottom go to the edge. The right and left hand side is kind of centered. So you can start at the top or bottom. I'm going to start at the bottom on this side, and I'll start on the top on the other side. So what we're trying to do is get it centered on the bottom, and then I'm going to move it around, make sure it's centered on the top. So the top will help you fit it, because it's exactly the same size on the top. And then you can see the border around this. That'll help as well. And once you get it started, you can just flip it over and either put your hand in there or maybe a blunt flat tool. Like earlier I was using a wooden chopstick. But you should be able to get your hand in there if you keep it this size. Any smaller, this might be a little bit difficult to make. So I didn't want to make it huge, and I didn't want to make it really small. And you could put the glue, if you want to be really accurate, you could put the glue around here to make sure you get it right to the edge. I kind of know where I'm going, so that's the reason why I'm doing it this way. Do not put the glue around this, because we have a border, remember. Do this on the other side. Put a little bit more glue around this so it doesn't pop up a little bit. So we'll start at the top. We're going to line it up. Top edge. I've just lightly placed it down so it doesn't Make sure it's straight before you even lightly place it down. And that bowed out. Oops. Let's go ahead and get that in place again. I'm feeling with my fingertips here. And matching it up on the bottom. And this didn't glue quite right, so you can see it a little bit. Most people won't notice it, but that's right there. Just tell you flaw is just I didn't push it in when I was going around. So sometimes it's good to see a mistake. But it's barely noticeable, really. I can see it up close. Kind of see it out, bulging out a little bit. So I went a little bit too much to the left, trying to compensate for that, but here's the other side, so they're both identical. When you have them in a group, you're not even going to notice. So now we have the bottom piece, and what you could do is just put it on all at once, or you could just anchor one side and then put it on. I'm going to put it on all at once. But if you wanted to anchor to one, just glue it to one of the tabs and then fold it over, that's up to you. A lot of people might prefer to do it that way. This is a pretty small section to close off. I think it gets harder when it becomes larger in size. So just get it situated properly. Got some tongue tying today. And we'll go ahead and kind of squish it in to make sure all the tabs are lined up best we can. And once you have it in place, you can go ahead and use a tool like this chopstick and apply pressure against the tabs inside. And you can't see them inside, so there's no point in putting the panel inside. But a little small tea light that you get at a dollar store in the US, or the really short ones, those go in. Those would be best for this, just because the light would glow up. But again, you don't have to put this little vellum piece in. So let's go ahead and finish it off with the lid. So I already folded it. So when you fold it, just a tip, you kind of want to just fold it against the table like that. Then these will fold in. These sides fold in as well, like that. Again, this is a snug lid because I have reinforced edges. And I have this back piece creating this almost like the jar top, rather than putting panels on this. So I would start with this, with the one with the cuts. So you want to be really light with your glue, because you don't want the glue getting in between, be able to see. You don't want it to go into the openings. So if you want to just put dots, you can between them. And then really a light. Just make sure you get it on the edge. So we're just going to fold it over. And we'll do that on both sides. So you can see there's no glue coming through. A little heavy-handed this morning. If you do have a little glue leak through, you can just make sure you have a little slightly damp paper towel or something nearby. It's a little bit more damp than I want, but it should dry okay. Got a little bit too wet. The one thing if you do use a wet towel like that, so now we're going to just glue these. If you do use a wet towel like that, be careful about the pressure you use, because you could rub off the color. So it depends on the cardstock you use. So I know what pressure I can use with mine. So just be careful of that. So now I put glue on these side tabs. I'm going to glue it on the inside. Make sure you line up this other edge to the tab fold. Make sure it's not over it. Don't go over that tab fold, else you will get it really, really tight. It's a tight lid as it is, so you don't want to make it any tighter. So we'll do the other tab. And then after you put this tab, we're going to flip over this top part here. So if you want to make it not, just make sure you go, you don't have to line it up exactly with the tab fold. You can just be a little bit to the left of it, like for here, or here to the right of it. Like I said, it's a tight lid as it is. I actually prefer them, as long as they go over, I prefer them to be tight, because then if I put something in them, so putting a little glue on that, and folding it over. But if I put a little glue, something in it, I like it to be tight, because then it feels like a nice sealed container, especially as a gift. Others may feel different, but it's the way I built it. And the last two. And then when you're done with this, you can put, like I said, a tea light. It could be for a gift. You can add a little personalized tag, anything like that. If you do like this project, I would ask you to give me a little thumbs up below. That's always, I always like comments too. And of course, if you want to subscribe, that's up to you. I do subscribe to people that I feel like they give me good content. But if you do subscribe and you hit that little bell, then it'll tell you when we have new videos, whether it be a project like this or a tutorial. So we'll get this last part folded in. And when you fold this in, we're just doing a light thing of glue. This is just a reinforced lid. Then I'm flipping it in, flipping it up, and applying pressure inside to get it nice and flush and flat. Gotta close my glue bottle real quick before it starts drying on me. Then now we have this. And it might be more flat for me. It's probably tighter because I have embossed the front and the back. But it just slides right over like that. And you want to pull it down. So that's what it looks like finished. Here's another fun thing before I end this. These things cut out. So if you wanted to use extra tags, or you might want to save these. So these are the cutouts from here. So you could put them on here as a side, like attach it, put a little hole in it, and you could make it a tag with somebody's name on it. Or you could use it for a different project. So there's no point in wasting this, because they're pretty good. I'll show you all three of them layered. There they are. So this one's not as exciting, but you could emboss it or do something like this. If you have a little, this is like a, why can't I think of the word? Trying to think of what this is. It's kind of like an embossing tool. But if you wanted to do something like this, you could use that. Kind of do your own leaf. Do that. So you can have different uses, and you could do that with these too. So there's just little things you could do and use these for. So I say don't waste it. You know, you could use it for a card, a quick Thanksgiving card or fall card or anything like that. So these are all three. I'm going to kind of angle them. So as a group, I know this is not really exciting, but as a group, if you put them on the table for a display, like these scream a little bit more fall than the other one, obviously. But you could also put a little kind of emboss this as well if you wanted to. So for me, I'm just going to put a little bit more twine on the third one and call it a set. So I hope you like this project, and I thank you so much for watching.